friends. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome for the very first time. My name's Megan, and I don't know what we're doing anymore, honestly. I usually try to say something like, we're growing into the lives we want or decluttering our lives. But as you can tell from my intro and what you're currently seeing on screen, I don't know what we're doing right now. I don't know if we're growing into the life we want or if everything has just absolutely devolved into a disaster. So today what we're going to get into is just my morning routine. This is what my morning looks like. I made a comment on a video a while ago, or a comment on someone else's comment on my video, where I had mentioned that it takes me about an hour to get everyone's lunches ready in the morning. And someone laughed hysterically that it would take me a full hour to get lunches ready for my family on a school and a work day. I thought it was fitting. This was the last school day before the holiday break. And so this is what it's like. This is why it takes me an hour. Because everything is a disaster. And well, that's not always the reason, but today that's the reason. Everything was a disaster. So it wasn't really just making lunches for an hour. It was cleaning everything up, letting the dogs in and out, and then making lunches. Typically what makes making lunches take so long is if my daughter Amelia is already awake by the time I start making the lunches. Fortunately, this morning she was not. She was still in bed sleeping, which was great for me. But if she's awake, then the reason that it takes an hour is because she will ask me to get 400 different things for her, while I'm also trying to make the lunches. And then the dogs will want to go in and out about 672 times. And typically in the mornings, I have a couple of phone calls, like at 7:30 a.m. and 7:45, I have quick little phone calls that I do for the leadership / therapy group that I'm in. Where did I go? Oh, here I am. We're back. So anyway, that's my excuses. That's why it takes me so very long. But I thought I'd just, bring you along, have a little chit chat, and show you how bad things have gotten. And, I don't know how I do it, how I do it all as a wife and a mom and all of that. I do also have to just acknowledge today that it's not feeling very merry right now. We have less than a week until Christmas. Today that I'm recording this is Friday, the 20th. So we have this weekend and then a couple of days until Christmas Eve and Christmas. And I am just not feeling it. I'm not ready. And if you've been following me for a while, you might already know, or you might remember that I'm not exactly like the queen of Christmas magic. It's not my jam. It's not my thing. It's not what I do. But this year does feel even less magical than normal. Typically, I will spend, a bunch of time in advance, like before Thanksgiving. I spend time sitting down and mapping out all of the different activities that we want to do and the budget for gifts and all of that. And I usually have several different things that we do, right? We do like a brunch with Santa. We go to the, Christmas lights at the Arboretum. That's just stuff that we do, traditions. We go pick out a Christmas tree on the tree farm, go see the Nutcracker from a local dance school, all of that kind of stuff. But this year, I didn't do any of that. Any of it. Like I looked, I did do some. We did go to the Christmas tree farm and picked out a Christmas tree. But we didn't see the Nutcracker because tickets were outrageously expensive this year. Like I feel like to see a student production, like $35 is reasonable, maybe 40, right? But these tickets were like $65 to $100. So we didn't do that because if we go, we like to take the whole family, which is usually more than like 6 people. And then we didn't do the brunch with Santa because, again, very expensive, an expensive activity. And then we didn't do the Christmas lights because every year it's really cold and it's really hard to predict like which evening is going to be a nice warm evening and which evening might be brutally cold and you're going to get frostbite. So someone always ends up being miserable or complaining and making it not very fun for the rest of us. And so I just didn't this year. We just didn't. And so now that we're getting really close to Christmas, I'm kind of like, oh no, we don't have any Christmas magic. And, you know, it's a little bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. I guess you can't win them all every year, right? Then the other thing is gifts. Again, finances are a little tricky this year just because our family income went down and then I started a business. And so I'm not making a ton of money from the business yet. So it's kind of just like a hang tight and wait, situation. I have been seriously considering trying to get hired back at the hospital where I worked. It would, they have positions open doing exactly what I was doing before. And so I know how to do the job. I know how much it pays. It would be a really quick way to make an extra like $400 to $600 a week, which would be amazing. But the problem with that plan is that I would have to work at least 2 days a week, I'm pretty sure. It's like they call it a casual position or a registry position. So it's something where you get to pick which days you work, but you also obviously have to work when the company needs you, right? It's not all about you. It's about what the company needs. So I'm not sure exactly how much flexibility there would be, and I would have to be back on a weekend rotation, which would mean Ed would have to be fully responsible for both kids at least like once every 5 or 6 weekends in this rotation. And he has a job where he's on call 24/7. So if there was an emergency at his job and he was stuck with the kids, it would be a real tricky, sticky mess. So I don't know. That would be like my top choice if I was going to go back to some other type of work in addition to my counseling business. But it's just really hard. It's hard to let go of the freedom that I have right now with my schedule. And Ed doesn't really want me to go back either because of that, right? Like I can pick up the kids every day right now. I don't have to worry about somebody else picking them up, and Ed doesn't have to worry about it. And yeah, I don't know. It's tricky, guys. Like it's really hard to know that there's quick money that's sitting right there on the table that I could get. Probably. I'm not 100% sure they would hire me back, but I'm fairly certain. But it's like, how much of a commitment am I able and willing to make, right? And then the other piece is I've watched tons and tons of, entrepreneurial, that's a weird word. Anyway, lots of YouTube videos from entrepreneurs and business people. And one of the biggest things, especially like that Alex Hormozy says, and that my husband says, I mean, it's logical, right? It's not like some secret, is that if you spread yourself too thin, you're probably not going to be super successful at anything, right? So if I'm going to focus on this counseling business, I should probably just focus on the counseling business and be patient until I can make the money I need to make there. But it's so tempting, guys. It's so tempting to just go back to work a couple days a week and make money. It's really tempting. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? freedom versus cash versus building the business to its fullest extent. I don't know. So anyway, there's other things we're doing for our finances right now though. Like we've cut some things out. We have talked about refinancing. I feel like I don't believe words exist right now. Refinancing the truck that Ed has. And so our car payment would go down. So that might be helpful. And I'm going to be finished with my counseling group that I'm in a couple months. So that will be a reduced expense. So I don't know. We're working on it, guys. Finances are not my forte. Like I really, really struggle, if I can just be vulnerable with y'all. I have never been good with money. I have never had to be good with money because my parents have money. I know that sounds really bratty, but it's the truth. And so God, look at okay, I'm not going to critique myself, but don't look at my body. I probably should have finished getting dressed before I filmed this morning. I've had a definite backslide since Thanksgiving. But I am holding strong at like 171 point something pounds. So I'm not like gaining back all of the weight I lost. But I think when I eat carbs, especially like gluten, my stomach puffs out like this where I look pregnant. And it's like 100% the gluten and the carbs. When I'm eating cleaner and just eating like vegetables and meat and cheese and stuff, I am not bloated like that. So that's information that I have, but what I do with it, I guess, is up to me. Oh, that is a ballet outfit that I wore to my group last night because I had an assignment called Rebel. Sorry, this is an ADHD. I don't know if I have ADHD, but this is my like whatever brain. I might get back to what I was talking about, but I just saw that and now I want to talk about that. So I wore this ballet outfit last night under my clothes to group because I had an assignment called Rebel. And the point, well, I don't know what the point is, but the way that you get past the assignment or move on beyond it is that you have to disrupt group for a full minute. Like you have 10 minutes to be as disruptive as you possibly can be and distract everyone so that they can't do any work. Like they can't talk about their feelings. Like nobody's paying attention to anything except what I am doing. And then everyone else in the group, their task is to try and ignore me, like as best they can. So last night was so epic. When it was my time to shine, when I had my 10 minutes, I took off my stuff I was wearing on top of the ballet clothes, like my tights and leotard, and I took my shoes off and everything. And then it's a pretty small room. Like it's like, it's a pretty small office for 9 people to be in at once. And I just started like prancing around. I started climbing on the furniture and the windowsills. And then I started singing You'll Never Walk Alone at the top of my lungs in an operatic voice, and Tiptoe Through the Tulips. And I just, I did it, guys. I passed with flying colors. No one was paying attention to anything except for me, and it was incredible. But I'm putting my LMNT electrolytes in my coffee. I'm probably gonna like die, honestly, from a sodium overdose. But it's just so good. It's so good in the coffee, and it's only like 5 calories. But anyway, so I passed Rebel last night, and it felt really great, but I thought I was definitely going to have a stroke. My heart rate was up to like 170, and I couldn't catch my breath when I was done. And so it took me a while to like come down from that, but it felt really good. I am proud of myself. And if you're wondering what the point of that is, I think I don't know. They don't tell you. Like, the point is you have to figure it out for yourself. But I think the point of Rebel in the context of group therapy is that you become so confident in yourself and so unbothered. Oh, those are my medication. Well, my one medication now, my one blood pressure medicine. And oh gosh, and here's my purse / lunch bag. Somebody in the comments has been requesting that I do a what's in my bag video, and I am so embarrassed, but it might boost my views a lot because it's really gross and disturbing. And then there's the Christmas cards I got for the teachers. But anyway, I think the point of Rebel is to be super confident in yourself, to not care what other people think about you, and to just go hard for what you want without worrying about other people's feelings or other people's judgments of you. And yeah, I'm so happy I did it. I think I am finally there. I really don't care what people think anymore. I really, really, really don't. And it also helped me break my rule of like, don't interrupt other people or don't get in other people's way. And if someone else is trying to speak, like, you should not try, or, whatever. And now it's, obviously I'm not going to go around in my real life and be super rude. Yeah, I was feeling it this morning. But yeah, I'm not going to go in real life and be super rude and like disruptive, but I think I do feel now a lot more freedom in social situations or in just interactions with people where it's like, I deserve to have an opinion too. Like, I deserve to go for what I want, and it's okay. And I don't have to be small just to make other people happy. So yeah, I like it. It's been great. And it also has helped me, not that assignment specifically, but group in general has helped me to be a better therapist as well. Like, it's helped me in my personal life, but I think it's also helped me be a better therapist because I have a couple of clients right now. I won't obviously talk about the details of my clients here for their privacy, but I've had a couple of clients recently where it's like one of them was saying that he might be done and he wasn't really sure what he was getting out of it, and he was, wanting to leave. And then this other person that I was seeing was, the last time I saw her was kind of like, I don't know, I just got this vibe that it was really difficult to satisfy her, and like I was feeling all this pressure to, find the right worksheet to help her figure her life out and whatever. And so in both of those situations, I was really proud of myself because it was like, oh, that's okay. Like, I don't have to be the perfect therapist for everyone. I can just be the perfect therapist for the people who get what they get from me, right? Like, I'm not for everybody, and everybody's not for me, and that's okay. And then to believe that the clients that I am going to have a connection with or that I am going to work well with, like, they will come and we will work together and it'll be great. And funnily enough, it actually, with the guy who was done, because I didn't feel pressure to try and keep him or convince him, we actually ended up having a great session because I just said all the things that I felt like saying to him and gave him all the feedback that I thought was true. And he ended up being really happy with it and grateful and saying that he appreciated it. And he came back. And then this lady, her session actually ended up being really good too. She came back. She was in a different mood. She was in a different headspace. And I also was in a different headspace. I had gotten myself to the point where I was willing to just be honest with her and just let go of whatever was going to happen. Like, I wasn't attached to the outcome. I was just willing to go with the flow and to be honest with her if I needed to. And that really led to some great conversation. Like, we didn't dwell on it or anything, but I was able to just tell her, like, oh, hey, Yeah, I think I might have, tried to overdo it last week, and I respect that you had a different view on what you wanted to do, and I was maybe just a little overly excited, um and we laughed about it, and she talked about her take on how things went the week before, and it was cool to just be able to be honest and just reflect on how our interaction as a therapist and a client was going. And I love that. And that's something that I learned in doing my own therapy as a client, in the group practice that I go to as a client. We do that all the time. Like, that's why we're in group. Like, we do talk about our own issues. We do talk about our own marriages. We talk about, jobs and emotions and our childhoods and all of that. But the beauty of being in a group with other people is that we also get to see how we are in relation to others. And a lot of times, like, what we do in the group, like how we behave when we're interacting with other people or when we get triggered by something somebody says, is really reflective of how we operate in real life. So if I'm getting triggered and like lashing out at somebody in group, or if I get triggered and I go away, right? Like I retreat within myself in group, the likelihood is that I probably do that in my relationship with my husband, or I probably do that in my job or with friends, right? So it's really, I don't know, it's just a cool process to be able to go beyond just the topic of what someone's talking about and dig into what's actually happening in real life, in real time. So anyway, that's how that all went. And then that also makes me think of how I want to handle some conflict that I'm having right now with Ed. So yeah, let's get into my marriage a little bit, because my husband doesn't watch my channel at all. What do we want to say? No, we're just having a hard time, right? So here's the deal. Like, we had a conversation the other night about money stuff, which is always a real hot topic. And it triggered a lot of shame for me. It triggered a lot of hurt. And so then the next day, there was also some just shame and hurt and like discomfort in our interactions. And I think for him, he was experiencing fear, like, oh no, this is going to happen again. And then I'm not going to get to do this. And we're not going to have that. So for him, it's fear and scarcity. And for me, it is hurt and shame. And so when I am living in this hurt and shame, and he is living in fear and scarcity, then we're not really bringing our best selves to the table, right? And actually, after everything that you see filmed here, I ended up screaming at my son to get up because he would not wake up on time. And that really is just like a boil over of everything else that's going on, of course. And then Ed got mad at me for yelling. And then I got mad at him for getting mad at me, because who does he think he is to tell me how to handle myself when I feel like I'm not getting helped or whatever, right? So it's kind of this like cascade of hurt and shame and upset and anger and fear and all of that, which is really funny to be talking about while I'm watching myself dance on camera. So all of this is going on, right? And so today I am just feeling really stuck, really unsure of how to proceed, because I know my logical self, my counselor self, right? I can see when I step back, I can see what's going on, right? I can see the dynamics. I can see where I'm wrong. I can see where he's wrong. I can see that we both love each other. We both love our family. But we are just not on the same page with our goals and what our priorities are, like the things that are most important to us. Like with our budget and all of that, like we don't share the same vision. And so I know that, right? And I know that if we're going to have like a productive conversation to kind of repair everything that's been going on, that I need to come at it from this calm place and he needs to come at it from this calm place. And we both need to agree to not be defensive and to not blame and to not shame each other and to not point fingers and to just really sit there and kind of like map out what we both want moving forward so that we can get on the same team. But that, even though I know that, right? I know that, and that's what I would tell my clients to do. It is so hard, guys. It is so hard. It is nearly impossible to do that, and keep it grounded and keep it from turning into a blame and shame game. So I'm a nervous wreck, and I'm sure he's not having a great day either because of how we left it this morning. So wish us luck. Maybe that divorce arc that Feral Tradwife is always talking about, like the YouTube gurus are always saying, like, that would be a great way to get more views. Like maybe that's my key to success, guys. Maybe I need that. No, I'm just kidding. I absolutely do not want to get divorced. That's not, I absolutely don't on any level. I think that would be a big mistake. And I do believe that we can work everything out, but it just feels very heavy today. And now I can hear Amelia crying and I'm going to go tend to her and maybe I'll get to finish this voiceover later. So I'll be back in about a millisecond for you, but who knows how long in real time for me. All right. And I'm back. And for me, it is the next morning. So hello, good morning. Let's just finish this out. I have spent this whole morning that you're watching just getting everything ready. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the reason everything takes me so long is because I'm easily distracted. And I hope that you have really seen how many steps I take every morning. Like how many steps I take just walking back and forth, trying to make decisions. I feel like I need a system. I don't follow systems very well. But I was listening to this Alex Hormozy. I think I mentioned him earlier in this video too, but I was watching this Alex Hormozy video the other day about like setting goals and how we don't really need to set goals. We just need to like have good systems. And I think, yeah, there's a million people who are probably saying the exact same thing. I think Ali Abdal just put out a video saying the exact same thing, that you just need a system. You need a system. I suck at systems, but I also was deeply offended. Alex Hormozy was like, yeah, if you go into a business and people are having lots of meetings and, check-ins with their team and stuff, like those are the first things that should go. And people are always so resistant to that. And I am one of those resistant people. I love meetings. When I was working, I had to cut because I had a phone call. Now we're going to go outside and get the snow off of my car. But I was one of those people who really loved meetings, and I really loved sitting there and like planning out my whole day. And like, I had all these things that were very redundant and a waste of time. And my boss came in one day and was like, show me why you're struggling. Like, what do you do every morning? Like, walk me through your morning routine. And I showed her my morning routine and she's like, you probably, like, I say this with love, you probably don't need to do all of these lists before you actually get started. Like, you just need to start. And I was like trembling, like, no, I need my lists. I need to like write everything out a million times so that I know what I'm doing. But she was probably right. And I think the same thing is probably true with my morning routine, and the way that I make lunches and stuff. Like, I'm not very efficient, and I could definitely streamline my approach, because I do a lot of things like repeatedly that I don't need to. So anyway, if you have tips or a system for getting yourself ready in the morning, let me know. Or for doing lunches. I just don't want stuff to get soggy, right? Like, I don't want to make sandwiches the night before. But look at that beautiful snow, guys. Yeah, look at that snow. Also, sorry, I know this was like an abrupt jump in mood from talking about like, the breakdown of my marriage. to now talking about like how to make lunches more efficiently and wiping the snow off of my car. But that's kind of how life is sometimes, right? Like we're in these horrific moods or we're in these like really dark places, and then life still has to go on. Like you still have to make lunches. You still have to find your snow boots in your closet. Those are Amari's. I was looking for my really tall snow boots, but I can't drive in those. So I ended up with those little like duck boots. That's also Amari's. I'll show you the little duck boots that I ended up wearing. Those ones. Yeah. They're also like a half size too big and they look insane. Got to check for spiders and mice. Got to make sure those are the tall ones I can't drive in. And those are Amelia's, and that's her little snowsuit. And then I'll show you a picture of how cute she was at school in her little snowsuit. But there's my gnome socks. So anyway, I love you, and I will see you in the next video. And hopefully there will not be a divorce arc this season. So, all right, Merry Christmas. I'll see you in a few days. Bye.